caused him to bark joyously in recognition and rush off to join forces. The four young people came back to the rocks to collect their wraps, nodding to Tremaine as they went off. A cheerful, pleasant little crowd, he reflected, as he watched them go, clearly on good terms with each other and making the most of their holiday. He hoped he would see more of them. In the afternoon, Janet and Mark took him for a drive around the island, but he was on the beach again shortly after breakfast on the following morning. A spell of fine weather seemed to have settled in, and it was very pleasant on the rocks, with the sound of the sea as a lazy background. Later in the day it would probably be too hot for comfort, but at this hour the sun was soothing without being scorching. The same middle-aged couple made their appearance together with the two small boys, and then the fair-haired girl and her companions came down from the dunes. She recognized Tremaine and smiled. "Good morning." Tremaine adjusted his pince-nez in the habitual gesture that invariably made him seem a good deal more helpless than he was. "Good morning. Are you going in again today?" She nodded, her hands deftly fitting her bathing cap into position. "Yes, it looks inviting, doesn't it?" She was not as young as he had thought. At close quarters he could see a maturity in her face that added several years to her age. With a sense of shock, he glimpsed a plain gold ring on the third finger of her left hand. All four of them indeed were older than his first impression had suggested. Their light-heartedness, no doubt born of the holiday atmosphere, had given them a youthfulness which had been deceptive. Geoffrey appeared to be the senior member of the party. There was a restraint in his enjoyment, as though he felt that to be too exuberant would occasion a loss of dignity. He wondered whether it was Geoffrey who was the husband. Somehow he didn't think so. The intimacy between Geoffrey and Nicola didn't seem to be that of the married state. On the other hand, the other young man, whom he had heard them call Ivan, was quite evidently far more concerned with the dark-haired Ruth than with the fair-haired Nicola. It posed an intriguing problem. More than that, it was challenging. He disliked being unable to put people into their correct compartments. The incident of the dog on the previous day had effected an introduction, but it was difficult to pose the right questions without being so obviously after information as to warrant a snub. But fate came to his aid, as it often did, having apparently a warm corner for Mordecai Tremaine and his insatiable curiosity. Mark came unexpectedly down to the beach. "Thought I might find you here," he remarked, as he made his way over the rocks, sunning yourself like an old lizard. "I thought Janet intended to keep you running around until lunchtime." "She relented," Mark said, stretching himself. "Thought you might be feeling lonely and sent me off to console you." He glanced around. "Beach is pretty empty. It usually is, though, except at weekends." The dark, serious-faced Ivan came running for the beach ring in their direction. Mark waved a hand in greeting. Tremaine straightened his pince-nez hopefully. "You know these young people, Mark?" "They're from the Rouen Hotel. They're often down here." "Do they live on the island?" "Not all of them, but they seem to be spending quite a long while here this summer." Tremaine sat regarding the lithe figures at the water's edge. "Who's the girl with the blonde hair? The one in the blue swimsuit?" "That's Nicola Paston." "She's married, isn't she?" "She was. She's a widow. Her husband was killed a couple of years ago. His plane crashed on the way home from the Middle East." "A widow?" Tremaine pursed his lips. "That's bad. She looks too young to have known that much tragedy." "In this current world," Belmore observed, "tragedy isn't any respecter of age, let alone persons." "I suppose you're right. It doesn't seem to have left a permanent scar on her, though. Being young has its compensations. It isn't too late to start again." "You mean Geoffrey Bendel?" "Oh, is that his name?" "I've only heard him called Geoffrey. I've been trying to make out their exact relationship. At first I thought they might